Wagwan, everybody. This is the Ayide and I podcast, and I'm yours true, Ayide and I, and I'm here with my friend Ayide Borges.
Hi, Feli.
And Ayide is also the cousin of the producer of my show, Doomy.
Yes.
So I'm really happy to have you aboard today.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. So we're gonna just hop right into the music thing because every time I talk a little bit about music for everybody.
Right.
So, well, first of all, we have a lot of similarities. Let's start there.
Right.
So we both started off doing a little bit of management stuff. You used to work on the management teams, right? For Rick Ross?
Yes. So when I graduated from college in 2005, I was approached by Gucci Poochie, who was Rick Ross's road manager at the time. And I met him when I was in college. I went to University of Florida, go Gators. And they used to have an artist named Jack Gill that they used to bring to a club I managed in Gainesville. So they would bring her up there, and of course, I had to deal with them. So when I graduated, my homeboy Chris hit me up and said, Ross just signed a deal with Def Jam. He needs a personal assistant. Do you want to do it? And Poochie remembered me from when he used to bring Jackie O to the club up there. So Poochie discussed it with E-Class, who was Ross's manager at the time, and I was hired as Ross's assistant. So this was when he first signed the deal with Def Jam back in 2005.
Okay. So it was a little while ago.
Yeah.
And then, so you just did assisting for him from there?
Yeah. Well, but assisting kind of encompasses a lot of stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Initially, it was
especially for a big artist like that.
Well, yeah, because he had just signed a deal with Def Jam, so at first it was just like promo runs, just being on the road with him, making sure that he got everything he needed while on the road.
Right.
But then it turned into being in the office and managing all his bookings,
awesome.
Issuing his contracts, dealing with the money, dealing with the promoters, dealing with the travel. And then also his personal stuff. It was a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. I know. That's what I used to do for Black Chinese. So I know it's a lot of work.
Right.
And it's a lot of toggling back and forth business.
Right. A lot of business. A lot of business.
And that was before MMG though, right?
Yeah, this was way before MMG.
So you were just working for him?
Well,
at that point.
His manager owns Po' Boy Entertainment.
Right.
So he has a label, but his manager at the time, E-Class, and him were best friends. So he was managing Ross. Ross wasn't signed to Po' Boy. He was signed to Slip and Slide and had a distribution deal with Def Jam. But we still handled all his shows because we were the management company.
Right.
So this was before MMG, yeah.
So then, so you worked for Po' Boy too. So working with Po' Boy, did you work with multiple artists there?
Right. So after I stopped working with Ross, because he moved on, I was working with Flo Rida, who is signed to Po' Boy. Right. And Flo Rida's manager is Freezy. He's E-Class's younger brother. And so I was working directly with Freezy as his manager, and I was working with his road manager. And so I was the one that was doing the same thing that I was doing for Ross, booking the shows, handling transportation. Sometimes I would go out on the road with them and act as road manager. So I was able to see a lot of the world, and I'm very blessed to be able to say that I was able to travel and got a lot of stamps in my passport. Because
that's really
Flo Rida
cool.
is an international artist.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It was very, very fun.
That's really dope.
Yeah, and then there were other artists too that I kind of dealt with a little bit. We also had Billy Blue, and we had Brianna. We had Briscoe, so I did a lot of stuff with them as well. But the main artist that I worked with was Rick Ross and Flo Rida.
Okay.
And so you said you worked with
Black Chinese.
And you did the same thing that I was doing.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Shows
everything.
And so
it was just like everything. You just kind of did everything.
Right. So this is
like whatever came, you just had to just do it and manage
title,
it.
But it's not like one role.
Not
it's
at all.
Kind of like whatever they throw at you. So as a woman in the industry, how did you handle the challenges that came with it? Because I know I have my story, so I'm wondering what your experience was.
Listen, it was really, really hard, especially for them. Everyone in Black Chinese is a lot older than me. And for me to come in and for Dips to say, all right, Feli's going to be manager, I think everybody was a little taken back.
Yeah.
And really, no one really respected me or my position. Really, no one did.
I feel like for women,
it happens. That just happens.
Yeah, and you have to earn your respect. So I'm forever grateful, just not only for my knowledge that I received for working in entertainment, but also just life knowledge, because I had to earn my respect. But also, I feel like I had like a thugged out way of schooling, because the dudes I was that I had to learn from were all street dudes, you know?
Yeah.
So these are dudes from Carroll City. These are dudes that don't know how to be soft with the woman or try to sugarcoat things as far as work goes. I'm not talking about personally, but work goes.
Right.
And so because they were so rough on me, like I learned how to not be sensitive, because there were times where I cried. There were times where these guys made me feel like,
oh yeah, there's been plenty of times
right.
I've cried through shit with Black Chinese.
But I'm glad that I was able to get past all that.
Well, at least you still had the guidance. Yeah, they might make you cry and they might have said something,
right,
but at least you had the guidance.
No, yeah. And
in Black Chinese, I had no guidance.
Oh, well.
There was no one to show me anything. Everything that I learned, how to book things, how to talk to people, how to toggle prices, like, I just learned it all on my own. I had no guidance. There was no one to do anything. And then people were shitting on me left and right.
Well, I mean, I think that even with me, there was guidance, but to a certain minimum, because, you know, when you first start off with an artist who's just beginning,
they also expect you to know what you got to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, you kind of learn. You have to learn by default. You make mistakes. You learn from the mistakes. You grow from the mistakes. You try not to make the same mistakes over again.
Yeah.
You know, and especially when you're a woman, I feel like there's more expected from you. And which is fine, because they held me to a higher standard and I felt like I met those expectations. So I appreciate the rough schooling that I went through, because I feel like it made me just a more stronger person, period, you know? And it's very hard for women in the music business and entertainment business. We're a very small minority, and a lot of people think that we get our positions because we're fucking and sucking the artist, and, you know, not based on merit or hard work.
Right.
So all the guys that taught me, starting from Gucci Poochie that gave me my first shot, to E-Class that made sure that I was always straight, to Ross, who allowed me to be his personal assistant when I had no experience, going forward to Freezy, who really, I think, is one of the main people that molded me, Flo Rida's manager, for Flo Rida for giving me that opportunity, for Big Chuck for making me the strong person. Like, all these guys, I must say, really helped me become who I am today. And although I'm not in music anymore, like, I feel like I'm able to take those lessons and bring it into my new career path. Right. So, you know, I'm appreciative.
Did you think like you would, what did you go to school for?
Well, I went to school for broadcast journalism.
So did you think that you would end up
I knew that I would be in entertainment, but I didn't know that I was going to be in music. I mean, music has always been my passion, one of my passions.
Being management? Like, that was like a big...
I think when I first graduated from college, I was just excited to get a job.
Yeah.
I mean, all throughout high school and college, I worked at Macy's. I was a bar manager. So, you know, when you first get out of college, you're just happy to be doing something. And so for me to get that on the first shot based on my connections and hard work, because they remembered me from when I was in college, that made me feel good.
Of course.
I never thought that I would be able to be with these high profile people, but it's weird because, you know, when you start off with people and you know them from before they were big, you don't look at them like, ooh, Ross, let me get an autograph. Right. Oh, Flo, like, I know their social security number, their mamas, and, you know, so it's a little bit different. The dynamic is a little bit different. I'm not starstruck. I respect them, and I respect the craft, and I respect the hard work and the grind, but you know, I was always appreciative, but it was never like a starstruck situation. You know what I mean?
For sure. So. I totally get it, because people ask me all the time, oh, like, you're always around Dubs and Walshy, and how is it? And I'm like, I've known them since I was little.
It's a little different. It's not like, you know.
For me, it's like family, you know.
It's not
just
pressure.
What it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody's just a person. People are people. We're all the same type of people.
Time ago. We all shit the same way, wipe our ass. Men stand up, we sit down when we pee. So it's not, you know, like, we all bleed, you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Like, so.
So, when did you leave?
So in 2000 and, let's see, I worked 13, I stopped working for Flo. And it was because of a couple of things, but the main reason was because I had lupus.
Right.
So lupus is an autoimmune disease, and I was having like a lot of complications trying to figure out the disease. And so a little bit about lupus. One day I was in a club, and I happened to be drinking a glass of wine, and I had the glass of wine in my hand, and I set the glass down. And when I set the glass down, my hand was still like it was holding the glass. So I was like, what's going on? I could not straighten my fingers out. So I went to the doctor, and the doctor tested me for a bunch of stuff, Lyme disease, arthritis, and lupus. And I tested positive for lupus. And probably like a week later, I was really sick. I had to be rushed to the hospital, and they found that the lupus had already traveled to my kidneys, and so I had what's called lupus nephritis. And so trying to figure out, like, how did I get this? Is it something that I did? Is it, did I have sex with somebody who gave it to me? Like, it's not, it was nothing like that. It's not something that you can get from somebody. It's something that's become like a really big epidemic in a lot of colored women, Black, Hispanic, not too many white women, but women that have ethnic backgrounds. Right. And between the ages of, they say, 20 and 35, it's a new epidemic that these women are getting autoimmune diseases or disorders.
Like me.
Right. You told me that you have an autoimmune disease as well. Me. What is it called again?
It's called HSP vasculitis.
Right. And so how did you find out you got your condition?
What's crazy is kind of the same way. Mm-hmm. So I was actually at truck stop, and I was drinking something, and I felt like my feet getting numb, but I was like, okay, cool. Like, that's kind of happened to me throughout my life. I'm a small girl, so like sometimes my blood level, my iron level drops, and my hands started getting numb, and I had a beer in my hand. And I was like, man, but my hands are stiff. Like, I can barely move some of my fingers. My hands are really stiff.
Right.
And I was like, not feeling well, but kind of fine. So kept drinking. After a while, I was like, man, my hands are really hurting. I got home from truck stop, and I took off my pants, and what would look like a rash to someone else was literally spotted all the way down my body. And my feet were like 2 to 3 times the size. My hands started to swell. My fingers were all like crippled and cramped, and I couldn't like do anything, hold anything. And my muscles slowly started to give out on me. I could barely walk, barely move. And I went to the ER. I actually went to West Side Regional, and they were like, oh, it's just an allergic reaction. Take some Benadryl. And the doctor never even touched me, never tested me for anything, nothing. And so we were like, okay, cool. What else was I supposed to do? My situation got worse and worse overnight. I went to the doctor's the next day, and she was like, yo, you got vasculitis. You have HSP vasculitis. Which was crazy.
I feel like a lot of times, because I've heard other stories of people with autoimmune diseases, and I feel like for some reason it's very difficult to diagnose them. So I think
because no one ever even thinks that it's gonna be that.
Yeah.
And like HSP vasculitis is extremely rare.
I don't think I've even heard of that.
Not many people have it, and guess what? Majority of people that have it are kids, and the majority of people who get it hopefully don't get it again. But I just came out of remission in January because I got it again.
Yeah.
Not bad, but they found inflammation within my blood cells, which is like the start of it. And the thing is that if I would have noticed things before that day at truck stop, because stuff was starting to go wrong with me and I didn't notice.
Right, because you don't think about that.
Exactly. Yeah, and if I would have noticed, but that's why they were able to catch it this time, and they put me back on prednisone for the month.
So it's funny.
Prednisone.
Right. So prednisone is one of those medications that help with a lot of autoimmune diseases, but the problem is when you're on it for too long of a period, it can cause other issues and other things. So. Yeah.
Which, like, for you...
So, yeah, for me, like, I've had lupus for 10 years. So, for me, it's caused some difficulty with my bones and with thinning out some of my bones because of the prednisone basically, like, eats through it. So,
right.
It's I think it's important.
How long? Do you take prednisone all the time?
Well, I've been on it for 10 years, nonstop.
Because the thing you take your prednisone daily?
Daily. I take 2.5 milligrams of it, but the problem is that I've been as high as 60 milligrams, and that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, I have friends that have came to visit me in the hospital, and I'll say stuff to them like, did you see that guy floating outside the window? And they'll be like, what the fuck is wrong with Ayide? And I'm like, it's because the prednisone makes you start like seeing shit. You know what I'm saying? You're actually starting to like think that things are happening that's not. So it's a it's like one of those drugs, you see these commercials on TV that say, oh, if you have a erectile penis dysfunction, take this and it'll help you, but then you'll also have a stroke, a heart attack,
depression.
That's what medication does.
Yeah, everything else
helps
with it. Yeah.
One thing, but it hurts something else.
Yeah,
so, but sure. We deal with it.
Right.
We keep it moving.
Right.
We pray to God.
Yeah.
We believe.
I do hope you start feeling better.
Thank you.
I do hope one day you're not on prednisone.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's a shitty medication.
Well, I've been in remission.
I know, I hate being on prednisone.
It's horrible. And I've been in remission for it'll be 2 years in September. So if I stay in remission, then by September I'll be off of prednisone.
Yay!
So we gonna hope for that. We're pushing for that.
Yes, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then maybe we can go to Haiti together.
We're gonna definitely go to Haiti together.
Okay, good.
That's a given.
With Shashamani, our nonprofit that we both work for.
Yes.
Which I'm really excited you're starting
me
that
too.
with me.
Thank you for the intro.
Of course.
They seem like a very great. I mean, I think it's important to give back. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, coming from.
And what's great is that they build schools in Haiti.
Yeah. So coming from like having a Haitian descent and having lived in Haiti and, you know, just trying to figure out ways to give back. It's great to be part of an organization that is focused on the youth because, as everyone knows, the youth is the future.
Yeah,
so we want to make sure that
kids are the
we're
future.
exactly. So we want to make sure that we're really putting in the effort to build them up.
Of course.
And especially in underprivileged countries, you know, we want to make sure that we're being mentors.
Of course.
So this is a great opportunity, and I thank you for the introduction.
Absolutely, it's my
I'm
pleasure.
really excited about working with them.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we work together with them.
It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So we both did this thing for a really long time. I think we learned a lot of big
What was that thing
life
that I'm
lessons.
trying to forget? What was that thing?
We were both side chicks. Drink.
Yes, we were.
So I know I was a side chick for someone who had a girlfriend. Your situation, what was
It was
it?
a little bit more difficult.
Okay.
I was a side chick for someone who was actually married, and I knew he was married when I got with him. So, when I reflect back on the situation, like I definitely believe in karma. I definitely feel like I'm dealing with the karma.
My karma has been hitting me for a long time.
So I definitely feel like I've been dealing with the karma from my choices back then.
Yeah.
This was probably like about 3 or 4 years ago. And
How long did you do it for?
6 years.
I did mine for like
And it's funny
4,
because,
so.
so I feel like there's different kind of side chicks, right? So
Right.
there's a side chick that gets into the situation and doesn't know that she's a side chick. And she finds out later on that she's a side chick. And then there's a side chick that gets into the situation and maybe knew and doesn't give a fuck and wants the wife to know that she's there and she don't care because she's here to stay. And then there's a side chick that knew about it, but she wants to stay in the background because she's cool with playing the role as a side chick. And maybe in the back of her mind, there's a hope that one day she'll be the main chick. And I feel like I was the third person.
Yeah.
It's like the dude that I was with, we were together for 6 years. When we first started dating each other, it was just fun. I just wanted to fuck. I wasn't thinking about anything. And he was upfront with me. I knew he was married.
Thing too.
But in my mind, I was young. I was in my 20s.
I was like, it's cool. He has a girlfriend. I don't give a fuck. That's better for me.
Right.
That's exactly what I thought.
To be honest with you, it's really sick and weird. But my thinking was, he's married, so that means he can commit. That's weird and it's fucked up, but that's the way I was thinking back then.
Wow.
So I was attracted to the fact that I'm finding somebody that can commit because I felt like the guys that I was dating didn't want to commit.
Yeah.
So that was already a fucked up way of thinking. And then I went into it and I said, well, it doesn't matter because I just want to have sex. It's not a big deal. And when I tried to pull myself away, he pulled me back in.
Of course.
But I can never blame him because at the end of the day, it was my choice.
Yeah, it was your choice.
So I stayed in that situation for 6 years, and it didn't really feel like a side chick situation because it was like, how's this dude married, but he spends every night with me? He's always available.
Girl,
even
let
when
me
he's
tell
home, he
you.
can talk to me on the phone.
Yeah.
I was just so everything he was telling me about the relationship having issues, I was believing it because I was like, there's no way they could be happily married if he has so much time to give to me. But then there were also times where he wasn't answering his phone and where he was making excuses that he couldn't come over.
Or like the important things like the holidays. They're not spent with you.
Well, like they always make those memes, like, you know, February 15th is Side Chick Day, for Valentine's Day, or October, or
that is the fucking truth. Because
December
let me let you know,
6th is Side Chick Day.
That is the fucking.
December 25th is
It is
Family
the truth.
Day. Well,
and
yeah,
it's the truth.
So the question is, why do we feel like we deserve that? Like why? Like I asked myself that now in retrospect, now that I'm done with the situation, and
I don't deserve that.
Well, why did why did you, at the time, did you feel like you deserved it? Why did you take that at the time?
I was so caught up. I was so in love.
What made you think that what you were doing was right?
You know why? Because he gave me a lot of false hope.
So do you feel like the false hope he gave you was enough for you to believe that?
Hell yes, because this nigga was at my house 24/7 with me, my family. I mean, there was not a day that I didn't see him. I just didn't. For me, it was like, okay, she's obviously not really around, so hey. But she was always around. They lived together.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with me. I mean, the dude that I was with...
They did dinners every night. They were always out and about. So it just kind of, I don't know, I just kind of fell into, like, I'm not going to leave. And anytime I would leave, he would pull me back. Like, to the point where he would just start showing up at my doorstep now.
I mean, it's funny because I'm in...
And I was in too deep. I was so in love with him. I did everything I could for him.
I'm in the middle of... I'm currently writing a... So after I left Po' Boy, I got into the film industry. Mm-hmm. So, which is what I originally went to school for. And I moved to Atlanta. I worked on a bunch of different television shows in Atlanta. And the main thing one of the biggest things that I did was work on Ride Along 2 with Kevin Hart and Ice Cube. I worked as a costume coordinator. That was my first big movie job. And I was also in the film. And so...
and you had like a lead extra role, right?
Yeah, I was a principal extra. I played a bridesmaid. Hey. So I think that getting back into film, which is what I originally wanted to do, really... made me realize that this is where I want to be. And so after I did that, I moved to Haiti. I was working with a big production company in Haiti called Goth City. It's one of the biggest production companies, if not the biggest. We do a lot of commercials there. I was helping them produce, coordinate, all that stuff. And I realized this is what I really want to do. So now what I'm doing is I'm writing. Last year I did 2 short films, and I'm working on a web series right now. It's basically loosely based off of my life at the time that I was working for Ross and Flo. The situation I was going through being a woman in the industry, the situation I was going through being with a married man. And so I talk about a lot of those crazy...
at night?
As far as what? My guilt? Or as far as
knowing
work level?
Like, or knowing that your guy had to go back home to like...
It was hard. At the end of the day, when you know what you're doing and you know what your situation is, it's your choice to decide to pull yourself out of it or not. You can't keep blaming him. So that's the reason why I asked you that, because for a long time I kept saying, well, I tried to leave, but he made me stay. Or he's not really married, he's not really happy. But then I realized that I destroyed a family. You know what I'm saying? Like, I helped. I may not have been the sole reason why they ended up splitting up, but I was a major force in it. And so I had to stop giving myself an excuse to feel better for the things that I was doing, because I chose to be there.
Well, I know that my guilt in my sleep was crazy. I used to have dreams that I would see his girlfriend and cry to her and be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I used to
is that the side chick nightmare? Because I used to have those all the time.
I used to just crazy dreams of me being like, you should come with us, or like, yes,
come with us
bitch,
and do what?
Bitch, yes. Or like, I used to have dreams that like,
come with us and do what?
Right,
Wait, what? What are y'all doing?
Like, come with us. Like, we'd be going out of town.
Like, just a big
come with us.
Together.
Yes, and I used to have dreams like that because he used to always be like, he would be like, yeah, you're my girl. She's my girl. You're both my girls. And I'm like, what?
These niggas is taking a psychology class to brainwash us, but I think it's our fault. And I won't say that I blame it completely, because at the end of the day, we're human beings and we have the freedom of choice. Right. But I will say that for me and a lot of my friends that I see make certain mistakes with males, it's a lot of daddy issues involved in it. However,
ding ding ding.
But I'm not
gonna
blame.
Was never there.
Me neither. But I can't. At some point, when are you going to take responsibility
for your actions?
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, daddy had a lot to play with it. Daddy's the first person the first love we're supposed to have. Daddy's supposed to set.
And when you
don't
ever have that,
he's supposed to set the bar. He's supposed to show you what love is not. And he's supposed to keep you at a higher standard so that when you meet a guy, it's like, oh, you coming around here giving me this shit? Well, my daddy did this.
Right.
But when you don't have that, it's hard. You know what I'm saying? However, you know what's right and what's wrong at the end of the day. So daddy standards or not, you should still make those right decisions. So so the web series that I'm doing, it kind of touches on that. It talks about like just the struggle of an everyday girl who in her mind believes that she's doing the right thing. But at the end of the day, whether you're good or bad,
you know
whatever,
what you're doing.
Not only that, but we make bad choices and we learn from them. I mean, I can talk about the situation because I know that like I'm not that person anymore, and I feel like I've learned from it, and I've asked God for forgiveness, and I've even asked the wife for forgiveness. Whether she forgave me or not for what I did is besides the point. She knew when it was happening.
She knew the whole time?
She knows when I admit it. She knew the whole time. She knows when I admitted it. And now, whether she forgives me or not is on her. I hope she does. But if she doesn't, I believe that God has forgiven me. And I believe that, and I'm starting to forgive myself. Sometimes I still don't. Sometimes I still feel fucked up for what I did. But
it took me like a year and a half before myself. I felt like better.
I mean, I think that I should never have put.
And then when I also saw that girl was very happy with someone else, I was like.
The funny part is that they got divorced and he remarried her. So at the end of the day,
he remarried her.
So at the end of the day, they were supposed to be together. I was just maybe I was supposed to be there to help, but I wish I wasn't that person because now I've dealt with the karma from the choices that I made. But you know, if I was the vessel that God needed to use to make that a stronger relationship, okay. And if maybe it was a situation that God had to show me so that I'm smarter when it comes to future relationships I'm going to be in, or future life decisions and choices, or me valuing myself.
Are you dating anybody?
No, I'm celibate and single.
Are you celibate?
I am.
I was celibate for a long time.
What happened?
9 months.
And what happened?
Then I met a guy.
Oh, well. that happens.
That happens.
But, you know, if he's worth it, then you break your celibacy. If you feel like it's something that can push you towards a future, then you break your celibacy. And, I mean, for me personally, I'm at a point in my life that I'm ready to settle down, and I'm ready to be married, and and I just feel like when you're younger sometimes, for me, I was in my 20s and I feel like I fought with my pussy. Like I was telling my cousin that the other day, and Drew. I was like, I feel like when I was in my 20s, I fought with my pussy. And I think a lot of women do that.
Well, that's what I did with my ex.
Okay, so you think with your pussy and you let your pussy move you.
Right.
You want to have sex, and you're not thinking about the consequences. You're not thinking with your mind, is this right for me? Is this person the right person for me? Do we have a future together? Am I making the right choices? And now that I'm a little bit older, I don't think of my pussy anymore. I think with my mind, and I think with my heart, and I think with the things that
that's
I was raised and built on.
And that's why for so long I was celibate, because it's not even, sex is not even like it's just sex.
Well, I
like
mean,
you can have sex.
Good sex.
But what I'm saying,
sex.
You're right.
Let's not do that.
But what I'm saying is, you can have sex with anybody. So a connection is not something you can have with everybody.
Right.
So I was just past it.
I mean, I believe that, I have not been in a serious committed relationship since my ex-boyfriend, the one that was married.
Same here.
So for me, I believe that whoever is meant for you, which is clear in that situation, he broke up with his ex-wife. We were together. And it's crazy because as soon as he broke up with her and he was divorced, our relationship went downhill. He was always supposed to be with her.
Yeah.
So now he's with her again, and I feel like that's an example of...
Do you speak to him?
No.
Not at all.
I mean, I don't think he has a desire to speak to me, and I don't have a desire to speak to him because I feel like that time has passed, and I respect his marriage. I didn't before. I respect it now because I understand. Mm-hmm. I understand about family. I understand about commitment. When I was back then, I didn't understand. I didn't care. And now I do because I want those things. So I have to respect it. Even if I wanted to talk to him, I wouldn't. If I see him in the street, I think I would just, even if I said
that
hi,
is literally me and my ex.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sometimes I'll try to avoid him so bad if I see him. I'll be like,
yeah. And I don't think it has anything to do with me hating him or the way shit went down, or it's more about her. Like it's more about me putting myself in her place now when I didn't do that before, and understanding just, the sovereignty of union and marriage and all the things that I now want.
Right.
And not wanting to ever.
And thinking about it, like, it would kill you if that happened to you. Like, it breaks your heart, probably just even thinking about it.
And thinking that it could happen to me, because it could. You know what I'm saying? Who am I for it not to happen to me? But hoping that because I was in this situation.
How did you deal? Because I know I was sick. Like, I was sick. My situation made me sick.
I mean...
I was 89 pounds at 21 years old.
I mean, I don't think I was ever that skinny.
I was depressed about it.
It wasn't easy, you know. But I blame myself.
Why did you want to be with him? Why?
So,
like, what made you stay?
So, working in the music industry is very difficult because you're around $1 million niggas. You're around dudes that can do whatever, whenever, however. And you meet guys that either A, you're not sure if they trying to get a record deal, or B, they're insecure because they know that you hanging out with the boss and they don't know what your relationship is with him.
Right.
Or that your boss is E-Class, who has a big record label and millions of dollars in the bank, and they don't know what your relationship with him. Or you're traveling the world with Flo Rida and he's taking you on a bunch of trips for work, but you're seeing the world and they don't understand. And so a lot of guys, I feel like, that I was meeting at the time didn't feel like they could live up to those things when really I wasn't looking for that. But this dude didn't give a fuck.
Right.
And he probably didn't give a fuck because he was married.
Right.
But he made me feel like those things didn't matter to him. Like, he wasn't worried. Like, he was the first dude that I was able to introduce to E-Class, that I was able to bring around Freezy, that I was able to hang out with Chuck, you know what I'm saying? And he didn't break a sweat. And I liked that because I felt like he was confident and he held his own. And that's what I need. I need a man who's not going to question what I'm doing, who's going to respect me as a businesswoman, and who is going to be secure in who they are. And he made me feel like that. And that's the reason why I fell for him. Because the other dudes I was dating, I was just like, what? I can't bring you around these niggas. They're going to be like, what the fuck you doing? Like, these were like my big brothers. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to be like, what you doing with this nigga? Although none of them knew he was married. They might have thought about it. They might have figured it out later on because they ain't no dummies. But, you know, initially, nobody knew. So I think that was the attraction. He wasn't, nothing was nothing to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, those things didn't faze him. And I needed that because those things didn't faze me. So I didn't need no groupie ass nigga. Because a lot of times, niggas is the biggest groupies that you will see. Like, I done been to plenty of
Don't
concerts,
even start.
and they the ones trying to get on stage. They the ones in the front row.
I know all about the male groupies working for Black Chiny, okay?
So you like, where the hoes at? And there's nothing but niggas up there. So it was hard for me, you know what I'm saying, to find that, and I found that in him. But the other stuff that he came along with was also wrong, and I was too ready to block those things out. So anyways, in my series that I'm writing, my web series that I'm going to be producing, I'm going to talk about a lot of those stuff. Well, I'm already writing it right now. Hopefully I'll be able to start production this summer. And, you know, we're going to start it off on YouTube. And I hope that everyone tunes in because I have a lot of great stories.
Good.
And a lot of more examples and more things that I dealt with.
Because I want to know.
It's very interesting.
No,
I definitely could write a book, let me tell you.
You should write a book.
Definitely.
For the side
I've seen lots of things.
You should write a book for the side chicks. Hey, people think we're all fucking bitches and they don't realize that, like, yo, we go through shit too. Like,
yeah, I mean, we're bitches in the sense that we make bad choices. But does that mean that we're bad people? No.
No.
I feel like that means that we just are people that make bad choices. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And as long as you can recognize that and move past it, then that's really what matters.
So what do you think you'll do differently in your next relationship?
I think the first thing, I won't be as superficial as I think I've been. I'm past that stage. I think the last relationship I had, I was in my 20s. So now I'm in my 30s. So it's a little bit different. I think I'm looking for different things now. I think as you grow older, you start getting wiser and you start looking for more substance. So, I mean, I think that the first thing for me is to find somebody that makes me laugh. Because I look at my grandparents who've been married for 60 years and they're still laughing together. And I think that's
really
important.
nice. Yeah.
And I think that the second thing is obviously communication. Like, you want to be with somebody that you can talk to.
Oh, yeah.
That can understand you and that's willing to...
Or that when there's a problem, like, you can just sit down and talk, and it's just a talk, and then it's done.
Exactly. I think that someone who's open, a world traveler, someone who... Like, it's funny. I was just thinking today, like, if I could have a dude that's a mix between, like, Fabulous... Music Soul Child, T.I., and maybe like Hove, like, I think I'd be happy. Is there any guy out there that's all those people?
I don't know.
And if he was Haitian, that would be amazing too. Like, I don't know why. Like,
do you want to marry a Haitian man?
I think I do, but like, I mean, now, like I said, like, now that I'm older, like, my qualifications have, like, I'm like, Ayide, come on, like, you ain't gonna find a Haitian Morris Chestnut maybe, so just relax. You know what I'm saying? So. But I would love to, just because, like, I want to be able to, like, instill certain cultural things that I feel like being married to a Haitian person, I would be, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm American, Haitian American. So I think that, like, you know, together with a partner that's Haitian, like, we'll be able to bring up our children in a way that, you know.
You'll have that culture still. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about things like, do you want to have kids? You say that.
I do, yeah.
So what about something like in vitro?
Well, first of all, adoption has always been one of my things, regardless of whether I want to
have two kids and adopt a third.
Right. I feel like as long as there's children in the world that need parents, why not?
Yeah.
So I definitely know that adoption is one of the things that I would do, but I would love to be able to have a baby that looks like me and looks like my husband or my boyfriend or whoever I choose to have a baby with, like, that shares that DNA, those characteristics. So if I couldn't carry a child, or if I couldn't, if I don't have someone that I would want to have a child with, like, I wouldn't have problems doing in vitro at all. Yeah.
What about surrogate?
Surrogate is definitely an option, especially
freezing
for me
yourselves
with having an autoimmune disease. Like, I definitely wouldn't want to have be pregnant with a baby and then there's a situation or a risk to that baby based on me having lupus. So yeah, I have friends who have already told me that they would be a surrogate for me. So that's awesome.
That's really nice.
You know
Those
what
are
I'm
good
saying?
friends.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow.
In vitro is on the table too.
Freezing your cells?
Freezing my cells. I mean, I might need to do it soon, but yeah, that's definitely on the table.
You're not gonna need to do it soon. You're gonna find somebody.
I mean, you know, it's crazy because, like, I would love to find somebody. I have my wedding mapped out in my head the way that I want it to be. But at this point, I think that really the most important thing to me is fulfilling the destiny that I feel like I've been put on earth to fulfill.
Yeah.
And I think that is making films, that's making people feel good, that's sharing my story to somebody that might need it, that's putting a smile on people's faces when they watch my story or any story that I've written, or making a person feel any sort of emotion. I think that me as a filmmaker is what my priority is right now. And I have this I guess you could say, a fascination with eternal life. And I think that one of the greatest things about being an artist is that you are able to be immortal when you're an artist, because your art lives on eternally.
Yeah.
And I think that being able
That's really deep.
Well, it's true though when you think about it. Look at somebody like Michael Jackson. He's been dead for how many years now, but we still listen to his music.
And he's still banking.
You know what I'm saying? Well, you know what I'm
he's
saying?
making
Like,
mad money.
he has a legacy that he's left behind, and I think that that's so important to me. Like, being able to say that even after I've left this earth, my children are still good.
Yeah.
And people are still able to celebrate an art that I've left here. And I think that that's my way of being immortal. That's Ayide's way of saying that she left a mark on this earth. And I think that's important to me. So that's what I'm working towards.
Wow. Well, I hope your web series comes out soon.
It will.
And then we'll be able to tell everybody about it.
I'm very excited. Yeah, I'm very excited.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate you
for
being
having
here
me.
and
It was
sharing a little
awesome.
bit of an insight that's really personal and something that I never expressed to. So thank you for being here for me.
Thank you for having me.
And that's it. So don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, share, comment. You can follow on SoundCloud as well. Instagram. Shout out to the studio, Silver Slate. And we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.